Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's episode we're going to be talking about a few of the bigger issues I see within the Satanic community. People in the Discord would know that this video was originally supposed to be a video about drug misuse within Satanism, more specifically like the use of like Benadryl and other drugs such as that, and people getting roped into that from our community into some pretty fucked up situations. But I thought that wasn't big enough of an issue just to make a singular video about. It'd be like 2-3 minutes of me just complaining about nothing, and then that'd be it. So instead I've lumped a few of the things that I really want to complain about into one big video. Some of the more seasoned viewers of my channel may notice the huge change of scenery we've had as well that I've kind of just brushed over in the intro of this video, and that's duly in part to some recent life events, and I've kind of been getting into the schedule of uploading again because I've been on hiatus for the past like 2-3 weeks, but I'm getting back into the schedule of uploading. You guys should expect some videos out in the next couple of weeks. Obviously they're going to be lower quality than my usual stuff, as if my stuff wasn't low quality enough already. It'll improve eventually. It's just actually getting into the schedule and routine of recording a video every week again. But with that out of the way, yeah, let's get into it. But as always, before we get into that, I've got Patreon set up for this channel, so if you want to help with the overall video quality getting better, go down to the description. It's the first link. Lowest is $5, the highest is $20. You get all sorts of perks and stuff, and on top of that as well, as I've said, you're going to be helping out the video quality get a little bit better. Obviously I'm going to invest into probably some noise pads to make this room a tad bit less echoey. I doubt it'll make it much better, but you know what, we can put effort into it, you know. And the patrons get a shout out at the end of every video, but since we've only got one at the moment, shout out to, I think it's Madura. I'm Welsh, I can't pronounce this shit. But yeah, with that out of the way, let's get into it. So to start off my little list of complaints about our community, I'd like to start with the original intent of this video really. I'd like to talk about, more specifically, drug use within ritual and practice, like people using drugs as a way to try commune with Satan. And as anyone who's had an even decent conversation with me would know, I am very far from anti-drugs, but I'm also not exactly pro-drugs either. I take a very libertarian stance on it. I think if you're an adult and you're in your right mind, you should have the right to put whatever the fuck you want in your body, and I don't think anyone really has much of a right to tell you otherwise. I think this becomes a problem when you have people who are just getting into Satanism, which are usually people who are preteen to like just getting into their teenage years, and then they hear from people like, not pointing fingers, but I've heard this a lot from the sinister path kind of people. They try to get people into doing things like Benadryl, like other psychedelics, shrooms, 2CB, all that stuff that can, I'm not gonna say that it won't bring you some sort of enlightenment, but you're not gonna be exclusively achieving that through drugs. I think it's very, as much as drugs can enhance your practice, or enhance the feeling of it at least, it's not gonna be the drug that gives you the connection with Satan. It's always gonna be you that does that. The drug might make it feel better, or it might make it feel more genuine, but at the end of the day it's going to be you who's doing that. It's not going to be any substance which can actually connect you with the divine. And obviously safety is another issue as well, because most of these people are so young getting into it. They don't really take the time to think about things like somebody who is actually experienced in this stuff would, by like checking dosages and actually looking at trip reports and stuff like that about these substances. They just take these things, and it's really not good. Like people shouldn't be getting roped into all this stuff. It's really not good. Like, and another thing I'd like to mention, which is kind of within the same vein as the last, but I think it's overemphasis on blood rituals, like more specifically when it comes towards like trying to, because I've seen it a lot with people who try to like say, oh, I'm a big bad Satanist, I do blood rituals, and they're trying to convince beginners into it that they should be doing these things, like it's like seriously like harming themselves. And I would just like to like here and now say that you don't have to do any blood offerings or anything like that. It's a very weird thing to try nuance my way around talking on YouTube, but I'll try to put it in the simplest way I reasonably can. When you were doing a blood ritual, it's not specifically about the amount that you were offering. It's the fact that you did it. Like it's not the amount that you were actually offering. It could just be a prick on the finger, but that's all it needs. Like, you know, there aren't Satanists out there quite like literally like draining themselves to the point where they're ill and shit. Like most Satanists, it's either a cut or a prick on the finger. It's usually never more than that. I think this stems from some sort of stereotype, but think about this logically now. Yeah, the whole point of an offering is that you have offered something. It's more about the actual symbolic act of offering it than it is the amount of something. You know, like if you offered a bar of gold, and then you offered something that was priceless to you, what do you think Satan would, you know, appreciate more? It's not the amount that you're offering, it's the fact you went out of your way to offer it. Like, that's what gives it its significance. It's not the amount that you're offering at all. So, when you see these people who are out there saying you need to be offering, like, gallons of your own blood and gashing up your fucking arm and shit just to do an offering, you can easily tell that these people don't exactly know a lot about Satanism. They're mostly coming from some stereotype or whatever the fuck they've heard. And for the next one, I know I've talked this topic to death because honestly it's probably my biggest concern within this community in general, and it would be political opportunism. So a lot of groups nowadays, and I see this on the theistic side a lot as well as the atheistic, although the atheistic, you know, I'm not even getting into it. I see this a lot on the theistic side as well nowadays, especially. But it's intertwining Satanism with some political agenda or narrative, and this is wrong for many, many reasons. Obviously, because Satanism, it doesn't explicitly promote anything, and if you was a true Satanist, you would want people to like live under their own belief systems and shit like that. You wouldn't think Satan would have a set system or like form of government or whatever, would you? As I've said in many other videos, you can be a Satanist and you can have political motivations. You can be a Satanist and use Satanism to justify your political motivations. But you can't say that Satanism is political, because it blatantly isn't. It never has been. And once again, I'm dragging them into a conversation. But that's the main issue I take with most atheistic Satanists. I see Satanism as completely apolitical, and they seem to see Satanism as a political opportunity. So that's where we tend to butt heads. Next is something I'm pretty sure we can all unanimously agree that shouldn't really exist, but I'm just gonna kind of like generalize this as just poser Satanists, like people who say that they are Satanists and that they worship Satan, but in actuality they're not. They just do it for the aesthetic or the attention or whatever they think they gain socially out of this for some reason. And I don't think I should even really give these guys too much time even in this video, because we all know they barely even deserve that. But once again, this is stupid for many, many reasons. Satanism is a religious practice and it should be treated as such. Doing that is kind of like converting to like Judaism or something just for shits and gigs. Like why would you even do that? It's not even like you gain anything socially out of this. Like, you're gonna be ostracized. You do know that, don't you? Like, you're gonna make yourself an outcast for something you don't even believe in. Like, I don't even see the social advantage to it. Like, if you wanted attention, surely there's easier ways of doing it than doing this stuff, like. But anyway, I digress. I can sniff them out pretty easily nowadays because I've spoken to so many of them, and I've seen so many of them come and go throughout the community over the past several fucking years that it kind of just becomes a part of it. You get those people who will stick around for a few months and then they end up leaving mysteriously and all sorts, and then they go around telling stories about how they used to be a Satanist and all that. But yeah, it's just, I thought I'd give it a quick honourable mention for the video at least. This next segment I'm just gonna label as spiritual pissing competition or contest. We'll see which one can actually fit on the screen. In this little segment, I'm more referring to more infighting within the community between sects, like Diabolists going after Luciferians, or Sessions going after fucking whoever else, and I've already made a video on Satanic Infighting before, and it's actually quite funny how much we all fight, considering we all literally worship the same guy. The sects arguing is quite funny to witness. You're not gonna get anywhere, are you? Like, because we're arguing over methods to achieve the same thing. We all want to venerate Satan. We're all just doing it from different perspectives and in different ways that work logically to us. There's no point arguing over this stuff because it's all belief, you know? As close as your practices might be to you, it doesn't trump how much someone else's practice is gonna mean to them, you know? They might, because the same techniques obviously don't work for every person. Some people will feel more connected doing Luciferian practices than they will doing some of the Diabolist practices, or some of the Session practices, or some self-styled or spiritual stuff. Because everyone's different, you know. We're all individuals, and that's the way it should be. We're not all gonna worship Satan in the same way, and I highly doubt that he expects us to all worship him in the same way, because after all, we're humans. If you made it this far, I'd just like you all to remember that there are some good cookies in this fucking community. Not everyone's a prick. Like, as much as I love to complain about this community, I also really love this community, like, dearly to my heart as well. I love my community. As much as I complain about you guys, you're all amazing. You've been a huge change to my life. But with all that said, thank you for watching. If you like what I do here, drop me a like, drop me a sub, all that good stuff. If you want to get yourself a Patreon membership, as I've said before, it's the first link in the description. And hail Satan. I'll see you on the next one.